Today we're going to be making promotion artwork. These are the supplies you need. If you don't have them, we'll talk a little bit about what you can substitute it with. All right, so today you need a piece of paper about the size of a computer paper if you have it. If not, you can use one of the half sheets of paper. And I have in this assignment already given you a letter, and then there is a printable version. If you don't have a printer, you can also take your paper and trace it carefully on your actual screen. So be really careful and try to make it as big as possible. Okay, so I'm going to draw a P. I'm gonna pretend like I printed this out because for you guys, you already have the outline of your letter that's assigned to you or shape. All right, so once you have it traced or printed out, we're going to draw lines across it. So you need a ruler or a straight edge. A ruler would be great because then you can use both sides of the ruler. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make stripes across this, but I'm not going to go inside of my letter. So for me, I'm just gonna use the width of the ruler. And when I get to my letter, that one under my letter, I'm going to stop and skip my letter for now. Like I said, rulers would be easy because then you can just use the ruler, line it up, and it will be really evenly spaced. So they're one ruler apart. So everywhere outside of my letter, I'm going to draw a line across. The gaps of the letters. And then I think that's it for that letter. All right, so to make my letter look 3D, I'm going to, when the line hits the letter, make a curve. So all mine are gonna curve upwards. So let's start with this one down here. This one just touches the line, so I don't have to do anything. But I'm gonna pretend like the letter has form. So my line would go from, instead of just straight here, it would curve over a little bit, like it has some thickness to it, and then come back down to the parallel line across. So up, then down, up, then down. This is kind of a bigger area, but I'm still gonna go up, across, and down. Now this is the same line, but there's two parts it like jumps over. So I'm gonna go jump and jump. Here I'm gonna go jump, same thing, and jump. And then actually, ironically enough, this one just kind of curves with the letter itself. All right, so now you can start to see my letter is popping out because I've made these jumps from the straight line over the letter and created this, what's called like a contour. Okay, so the next part is coloring. I'm going to speed this up, but I'm gonna go red, white, blue in the background. Then for my letter, I'm going to shift that pattern down one. So check it out. You will want to, if you're painting, try to paint in the whole thing. If you're coloring, your goal is to have it so that there's no really like white spots. You have one nice solid color. So if painting works better for you, that's great. You had to let it dry. But if you're using marker, you're going to frame and fill. So make sure that when you are coloring, you are really framing, which means doing the outline first. And I'm not going inside the letters, and filling, which means you're coloring the same direction so that the texture is not distracting. So color the background stripes, ignoring the letter. So go in between the letter, but right now leave those blank. We're gonna do something different for the letter. All right, so now that I have my red, white, blue, I made sure I was in a pattern, I skipped my letter. Okay, so for my letter, I am now going to start red, white, blue, but shift it down one. So if I had red up here, I wouldn't put red with it. So it's gonna actually end up being, this part will be red next to the white, white will be next to the blue. So it's like the whole pattern kind of just shifts down one stripe. So I'm going to, once again, speed this up, but whatever stripe it is, next to your part you're going to color, go ahead and just look at the stripe above it, and you're going to color that color. So if I'm white, this is going to be red. If I was coloring, if this is next to a blue, this would be white. If this was next to a red, it'd be blue. So just start the pattern, shift it down one so it doesn't actually match up with the color that's right next to it. All right, so a good way to think about it is almost like a checkerboard. The color that is above it should be kind of diagonal from it. So it's almost like especially that part, you can see it looks kind of like a checkerboard. All right, so for the next part, crayon or color pencil would work the best. I'm gonna use oil pastels just because it's easier to see. But we're gonna create a highlight and a shadow. So the shadow is just how it sounds. It's gonna go around the letter and then radiate from it. So if you do this with crayon, just make sure that inside the letter, it stays pretty crisp, but then outside the letter, you can kind of make an outline and then make a little bit of a shadow. So because I'm using pastel, I'm just going to smudge it, but with crayon, you could kind of go from really dark right next to it, crisp line, to kind of lighter around the edges. So that way it looks like a shadow that is what's called diffusing. So dark shadow right around the edge, and then it getting lighter as it goes away because the shadow wouldn't be as crisp around or crisp on the edges that are farther away from the letter. If it ends up kind of looking just kind of like a, you can use a pencil too. If it ends up just kind of looking like an outline, that's okay too. But dark and then a little bit getting blurrier and lighter as you go away from the letter. And like I said, you could do the pencil too, like shading it dark to light from the letter. Kind of did that with our optical weaving that we did online. All right. So now that we have that, the shadow, we need the highlight. So like I said, you can use, I think a crayon would work really well with this, or even a, what's it called? A color pencil, but we're gonna make a highlight. So our highlight's gonna be on the left side, and I'm just going to color with white, like a line that goes all the way down the inner left side. Do a little bit at the top too. And then same thing for this guy. This is a shape over here, so he's gonna have a little bit of highlight that's in the inner left part of the shape. There we go. Right, there you go. And then you have this letter that kind of looks like it's popping out. It looks like it's kind of has a shadow and a highlight. And because of the color change, it will look kind of like it's part of the background, but emerging from it.